Well, here we are 1 week before Christmas, and this is Monday, the last devotional time of our week. So it's my joy to bring a few devotional thoughts, a few brief comments to you today. One of my favorite writers, devotional writers, is Dr. Jim Denison, who is the founder of the Denison Forum for Truth and Culture. He puts out an article or a devotional each day. He wrote one recently on the topic, what does the Bible say about Santa Claus? So I thought that was interesting, and I read it, wanted to share a few thoughts from there. Dr. Denison says that there was a man by the name Nicholas who was born in AD 280 in Asia Minor. He became the Bishop of Myra in the area now known as modern-day Turkey, and was part of the First Council of Nicaea, where the church leaders met, and he was instrumental in shaping the words for the incarnation of Jesus that we use today. St. Nicholas helped the poor and was known of his giving spirit by serving disadvantaged and poor people, mentally challenged children. He put together the first program for mentally challenged children in his day. He would visit their homes at night, disguised in a red hooded robe, and would deliver food and clothing and money, setting it by the window and sometimes taking it inside to the fireplace. After his death, he became known as the patron saint of Russia, and by the year 1500, over 700 churches were dedicated to him in his honor. The Dutch would spell his name as Sint Nicholas, and in America, his name became known as Sinterklaas, or Santa Claus, the way we know him and you and I know him today. His popularity grew through a poem that was written by Dr. Clement Moore, professor of theology and classics at Union Seminary in New York City. And then by 1822, he penned the classic A Visit from St. Nicholas, which we now know today as The Night Before Christmas. That's the reality of the story of St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus, a selfless lifestyle based on the love of God and the love for people. You see, Christmas is all about the incarnation of Jesus. It's about God coming near to us. In fact, the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 1, verse 18 says it this way. This is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. His mother, Mary, was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be with child through the Holy Spirit. But because Joseph, her husband, was a righteous man and did not want to expose Mary to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the prophet said, the virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. Notice the last verse that John says that Jesus will be called Emmanuel. That will be his name, and this is because he represents what it means for God to be with us. The Gospel of John says that Jesus, or the Word, became flesh and dwelt among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus came near me and near my family in the 1930s when my grandparents, who were migrant farm workers picking cotton near Snyder, first heard the gospel. The gospel came to them. My grandmother prayed to receive Christ. Then the gospel flowed from her through her family to my dad, ultimately to my mother. And then when I was a child, as a 9-year-old boy, Jesus was there. He came near to me when I opened my heart, invited him to come and invade and take over my life. Jesus was there when, as a 15-year-old, I answered a vocational call to ministry, not knowing what that fully meant, but Jesus was there also at our wedding when Belinda and I exchanged our vows 39 years ago. Jesus was also there when our first child, a baby girl, died. Jesus was there when our 3 sons were born. He was also there as I saw him when I pastored 3 different churches here in Texas. And then when I went on to BUA, saw some miraculous and supernatural things happen with his provision. God also, in the person of Christ and the presence of the Holy Spirit, has been here at Buckner the last 14 years. And I've seen the leadership of God's Spirit and guidance and provision in so many different ways over the last 14 years. And he remains working in a dynamic way through us today. Christmas reminds me that the God of the universe, the creator and sustainer of everything, is with us. He is not only God with us, but he is God for us. He is God below us. He is God above us. He is God beside us, God beneath us, God ahead of us, and God in us through the presence of his Holy Spirit. You see, that's the amazing news of Christmas, is that God is with us, and that, said another way, you're not alone. And just like St. Nicholas came near to the poor and the disadvantaged and the mentally challenged, you also come near. You imitate Jesus by coming near to vulnerable children and families and senior adults. You do the same thing. So as you celebrate Christmas alone this year, just remember you're really not alone. He is near. Jesus is with you. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I look forward to a wonderful, prosperous, exciting 2021 with challenges and obstacles and the presence of God with us. So God bless you. Have a great week.